3, 2, 1.
Touchdown, Stillwater! He scores! Touchdown! Look out. Beautiful! And one! And he scores!
In what is becoming an annual ritual for us at Valley Access Channels, Stillwater girls basketball on the precipice of another trip to state. But first they have to get through the Eastridge Raptors. We present the Section 4 4A Girls Basketball Championship. The winner takes a trip to Williams Arena next week. I'm Mike Peden. She is LaToya Turk. You may recall us last year on the TSB side when we were here for Stillwater White Bear Lake. And LaToya, all the metrics suggest Stillwater should win this one convincingly. They blew out Eastridge in the 2 regular season meetings, but we talked with Willie Taylor beforehand, and he'd be the first to tell you, when it comes to single elimination brackets, there are no guarantees.
Absolutely, and there are so many different factors that play into the game. If the girls are nervous, how much contact that the refs are going to allow. There's so many different factors that play into these games, and it's one shot tonight.
One shot indeed. Eastridge, they've been building back up. They last got to the section final in 2017, lost in overtime to White Bear Lake in that one. Went winless the next year. It's been a slow but steady climb, but they have a couple of solid athletes in the senior Kate Burns and the multi-sport extraordinaire Britt Carlson.
Yeah, and if you look at their scores, they've gotten some big wins, and those losses that they have been 10 points or less. Just from a few teams have really put the kibosh on them, Stillwater being one of them. But they have some nice pieces.
And one reason Stillwater can put the kibosh on teams like Eastridge and most of the Suburban East, Stillwater won all but one conference game this year. The big three, Alexis Pratt, Liza Carlin, and Amber Scalio.
Amazing athletes. They're going to be hard to stop tonight.
So we are ready to start this up, and once you start these teams up, there's no stopping. Yes, that is Rolling Stones you're hearing in the background. Glenn Worm, the head coach of Eastridge. Willie Taylor, the head coach of Stillwater. And Stillwater looking to add a little more history. Last year was the first time they reached a championship round. They got silver, as you know, falling to Hopkins, but they have never gone to state in back-to-back years. So a win tonight would add a little more trailblazing to what this Stillwater program has accomplished over the last few years.
Yeah, great accomplishments for the young ladies and the young athletes on the floor, but also we know that for Coach Taylor, he's in the business of breaking records.
And Eastridge has never made a state championship. Again, the closest they got was at this round 3 years ago. And they are looking to play the upset card here. And White Bear Lake, they were the one team to knock off Stillwater as the Raptors win the tip.
And right away you see that swarming defense. You see Liza's all in there.
And that's what Eastridge has to avoid. If they're going to hang with Stillwater, they cannot allow Stillwater to get in the fast break. Alexis Pratt missing the three-pointer. And the Stillwater bench ready to erupt. Hastings High School. This facility, as Stillwater will take over on the turnover. Ted and I have joked that this place is almost like Lindbergh Center East. Hastings, I don't know if this gym has a specific name, but it's a big one.
It's a nice facility.
Well, and they need it in the 4-4A boys bracket with Cretin-Durham Hall and Eastridge 1 and 2 in that section.
You see Stillwater getting into their sets.
Liza Carlin, 3 off the heel. And the rebound going to Britt Carlson. Britt missed some time in volleyball this year, but as we said, a dual sport athlete. Amber Scalia, also a dual sport athlete. Nice little fake, can't get the layup though. And the dead ball rebound to the Raptors.
And one thing that we can see from Stillwater right now is that they want to put some points on the board. They are going after each shot attempt, which they should. This is the section finals.
They are one of the higher scoring teams in Class 4A. 72-40 Stillwater win in the first meeting. 87-46 in the second meeting on February 11th. So this has not been close. But White Bear Lake knocked off Stillwater. 68-55 in the first meeting. Stillwater turned around and then beat them by 50 in the second meeting. And the more times you play somebody, the harder it can be to pull away. As Ella Stegman missing the three-pointer. Here's Gianna Carr out to Pratt. Fakes the three. Back out to Carr. I'm gonna have to look at the monitor here. We're behind the Stillwater bench.
Yeah.
And that was a clean-looking three-pointer from Grace Cody, the Mayville State recruit. And if you followed our Stillwater coverage either on Valley Access or on TSB, Grace, the daughter of Denise. And I'll mention the significance of that in a moment. Second chance bucket for Britt Carlson.
And that's one thing that Stillwater wanted to keep an eye on, because Eastridge does have a little bit of a height advantage on them.
They do. Liza Carlin, no good on the fadeaway. Kate Burns, 6'1", Britt Carlson, 6'4". And Carlson, a dual sport athlete, plays North Tartan AAU basketball and Northern Lights volleyball, in addition to her basketball and volleyball commitments here at Eastridge.
That's a tough schedule.
Tough schedule, but she's one heck of an athlete. The Raptors in volleyball, we'd be talking more about them if they weren't in the same section as Egan. And there she is again. Can't get the putback that time. Liza Carlin, a little behind the back. Can't get the scoop to fall. And this is the opening that Eastridge was looking for. Stillwater struggling in the opening minutes. Here's Burns, up and in, and the Raptors take the lead.
We had a lot of Raptor fans in the house tonight. We saw the parents here earlier putting up signs. And
Grace Cody feeling it.
it's nice to have a team where, you know, you can say pick your poison. If you're going to double down on our two top scorers, someone else can score.
Well, in Stillwater, three-point shooting has been their bread and butter ever since I started covering the team. And Stillwater forcing a turnover.
And we've seen that press that Stillwater is so good at, and they put on and that backcourt has been effective for them. This is the first time that we've seen them actually transition and be able to keep the ball. You know, a couple times the ball slipped through Pratt's hands.
I was going to say Grace's mother, Denise, a member of the first Stillwater State Tournament team back in 1984.
Well, this has got to feel good for her.
Denise has been a lifer. She works for the Stillwater Public School District and has for years.
A lifer.
She's a lifer. Gianna Carr with the strip. She's got a lane. No good. Carr has struggled offensively. Her defense is on point, though. She gets the poke. Pratt to Amber Scalia. And another miss.
And this is what Willie was talking about pregame, is that those nerves, you know, they've missed a couple of bunnies, and you just need to settle down, and we know that these girls know how to make layups.
There is a little more pressure. Remember last year, you and I were here with White Bear Lake. Everyone thought it was going to be a runaway. The Bears gave Stillwater a run. Grace Cody with the block. Can Alexis Pratt get the finish? She'll shoot two. Now Alexis Pratt, her free throw shooting, she's bumped up considerably. Has been shooting around 80% all season. Last year, she shot in the mid-60s.
Okay, that's a great improvement. When you have a quick first step like Alexis and you can get to the basket, you know, you're going to get fouled. You're going to get contact. So being able to shoot your free throws is pretty much mandatory.
Pratt crossed 2,000 points on January 31st against Roseville.
Congratulations.
And we'll see what happens next year, but there is a chance that she could join Sarah Scalia in the 2,000-point club for Stillwater. Remember, her first 2 years were with North St. Paul. Eastridge having trouble bringing the ball up, and Stillwater can't get the steal there, but
get those
their
hands
pressure,
on it. Yeah.
the pressure is a signature of theirs on defense. And we've seen them exploit it to perfection many times in the Suburban East. I was on hand for a lot of blowouts. Forest Lake, White Bear Lake, Cretin-Durham Hall, Woodbury. Well, I wasn't there for Woodbury, but I heard about the score. 3 on the way from East Ridge, and Stigman can't knock it down.
And we've seen Amber really step her game up this season as well. She's playing really well.
Amber averaging just under 15 points per game this year, averaged about 4.8 a year ago. Mary Fultz, 3-ball, corner pocket. Timeout East Ridge. And Stillwater, well, they're not getting their layups to fall, but the three-point shots are falling, and we talk about this a lot, LaToya. If you hit your threes, good things can happen no matter who you're playing.
Absolutely, and you can tell that everyone on that in the red jersey, they showed up to play tonight. No one's afraid to take a shot, go after a pass, and they've gotten their hands a lot in that passing lane defensively, and everyone's putting their shot up. No one's afraid to take a shot tonight. They're all scoring, or at least attempting.
Well, the big difference for Stillwater is experience. Last year, they had never made state, so there were those nerves settling, or you had to deal with. That game with Woodbury was a tight one. White Bear Lake gave them a run. This year, Stillwater knows they can get to state because they've done it. So I have to imagine there's a little less pressure.
Yeah, and they have the pieces, and they're comfortable playing with each other now. They've had some time to play together and gel and mesh. So they've put together a great season.
And remember, at the start of the year, there's Willie Taylor, Coaches Association Hall of Fame member, 500 career wins. He picked that up in the second game of the season at River Falls. We'll see if Willie sticks around for another 500.
You know, when you love the game this much, it's hard to pull you away from it.
I think we've shared the story. Willie and Taylor and I, we've known each other for 15 years now. First time he saw me in his St. Paul Central days, he gave me a look of, who are you and what are you doing here? East Ridge breaks the press. They fire the three, and it rims out from number 33, Emily Christensen. And that ball will go to Stillwater. Willie said, I'm going to be a millionaire someday, and we'll find out if that prediction is accurate.
We'll claim it.
Alexis Pratt. We'll see what happens. A long way to go, but Alexis Pratt, maybe she can make some bucks.
Oh, I think she will. I think women's athletics, or athletics in general, will pay off for her. She has a gift.
Her favorite players are Allen Iverson and Kevin Durant. Her favorite television show is Mix-ish, and if you like her on the basketball court, wait till you see her in the track this spring. One of the fastest athletes
in the state right now, yeah.
And she's been that way for years. When she was at North St. Paul, did wonders for their track program. I got to see her at Stillwater at the True Team meet last year, and she was one of the anchors on those relay teams.
Yeah,
she and Sarah Scally actually ran together.
Oh, wow. And she's equally amazing on and off the court, so she's just an awesome kid. Awesome young lady.
Here's Kate Burns trying the dribble drive, but traveled.
That was a nice powerful move.
Foul? That wasn't travel. Okay, want to be sure.
Yeah, because you could see the little bit of the shoulder drop there, but that was a great power move by her in that lane.
Carlin, right wing. And that is Mary Fultz knocking down the mid-range J.
And it looked like she was just waiting for her teammate to get out of the way so she could complete her move.
We also see Abby Hansen out there for the Ponies. Hansen's been getting some playing time as the season has moved along. Grace Canoe lost it. Liza Carlin to the rim.
Yeah, just settle down and take your shot and take your time. But that jump trap is working perfectly as long as that weak side player reads the lane and they stay in the passing lane. And we're looking at a 10-second call here.
There it is. Yeah. The Ponies up by 13.
And East Ridge, you know, at this point, just settle down and break your press. Dribbling out of the press against Stillwater is going to force a turnover. Just pass out of it. Come and meet the ball.
One of many section finals taking place as of now.
Yeah.
But that's how it is. 3A and 4A, most of them have the section finals on this night. We already have one section champion over in 3-4A because they host theirs on a Wednesday. Grace Cody, 3 no good. And so we know one team in the field. Mary Foltz with the putback.
Way to stick around.
Mary Foltz with 7 off the bench. Carlin and Scalia have yet to score, but you never know it.
They're definitely getting in the passing lane defensively.
And another difference, Stillwater hitting their threes, Eastridge not so much. There's a kick out, Grace Cody fires. Well, he jinxed her. Rebound picked up by the Raptors and drawing the foul, I believe, number 20, Grace Bennett.
Yeah, that last play, I know Grace has a hot hand right now. Amber was right at the top of the key waiting for that next pass.
I was going to say we know one team who will be in the 4A field, and that is Lakeville North. They got an upset of sorts over Rosemount. Lauren Jensen leads that program, and Lakeville North, I've said this, no matter the sport, they seem to be good at everything.
Yeah.
Football, basketball, soccer, lacrosse. Alexis Pratt for 3, it's there. Alexis Pratt, one of the darlings of the junior class. You and I have talked about this. One of her biggest fans is an opposing coach. Eastridge, baseline drive denied.
Yeah, and Eastridge is having all kind of fits right now with the Stillwater defense.
To finish up on Pratt, one of her biggest fans is someone who does some training with her, Andrea Hubbard.
Yeah.
She coaches at Mounds View, and I'm sure she's not looking forward to going up against Pratt for one more year, but she's gotten to know the family. Talked to me last year about how much of a workhorse she is and how she didn't have to do a whole lot to get her into playing form.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there are a few girls in the state who we always see in the gym, and Pratt's definitely one of them. One of the easiest kids to coach. You know, Willie was saying that earlier. At the end of the day, I have Alexis Pratt. And we finally get a 3 from Eastridge.
That's Madeline Slavin who scored. Slavin didn't score a whole lot in the first 2 section games. Amber Scalia says, right back at you. Amber's big sister continuing Big Ten tournament play tonight. The Gophers will play Ohio State. Stillwater, a transition bucket for Alexis Pratt. The pressure defense is on point. The 3-pointers are on point. And I don't think Stillwater's nervous anymore.
No, they're not. They're doing what works for them. They're able to initiate their press. They're pressing hard, and they're getting a lot of turnovers in the backcourt. They're forcing Eastridge to dribble, which hopefully that's what their coach is talking to them about. Is there's no need to dribble, just pass out of that press.
27-7. That reads more like a football score or a football runaway. But Stillwater, they built themselves up for this. They were featured in the breakdown, as you may recall, and Willie Taylor, Peter Scalia talked about the rise of the Ponies and the effort that went into it. Willie Taylor, one of his first reactions when he was hired to take the Stillwater job was, we've got 3,500 kids, why aren't we better at this sport?
Yeah.
And Peter doing a lot to invest in the youth program to build that pipeline up, and the results over the last 2 or 3 seasons have been real fun to watch.
Yeah, it's so important to have everyone in your program buying in and supporting your athletic programs.
Indeed. Talent pool runneth over, as they say. Stillwater 33-1 in conference play over the last 2 years. I think only Hopkins has a better record percentage-wise out in the lake. And the Raptors, as we've said before, at least before the broadcast, as the Raptors drive and score. Grace Canup with the runner there, but some teams, some matchups are just more favorable than others. White Bear Lake, they've been a thorn for Stillwater, for example. Eastridge, the Ponies have dominated in the 6 meetings over the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Liza Carlin, baseline
Nice
drive. Liza Carlin, as you know, heading to Marquette, where she'll play alongside, or I will say play against, an old AAU teammate of hers.
Yeah.
As she gets the steal.
There we go again.
And Amber Scalia with the layup.
They've got to open up their spacing. East Ridge should open up their spacing. They're kind of tight and pass out of that. And these ladies in the backcourt take their defender back. Yeah.
Kate Burns gets a friendly bounce.
And that's going to be beneficial for East Ridge getting into that lane because Stillwater, they want to defend against their three-point shooting rule. We talked about that pregame. And so it puts Carr in a position playing that back side of the defense if she should stay or if she should leak out and cover a shooter.
Gianna Carr's knocking down threes.
You can shoot yourself, too.
There was some chatter last year about her offensive capabilities and if she could be a scorer. Even though she's not the leading scorer, I feel her offense has improved over time.
Oh, yeah.
Stillwater, another fast break look. Amber Scalia with the finish.
And sometimes it takes a while to get back in rhythm, especially if you've been out for a year. And sometimes you don't have to score. She's a great defensive asset to the team.
Willie Taylor, in fact, said that Gianna Carr reminds him of Willie Taylor when he was a player. I don't have to take his word for it because I don't know how much video there is at Duluth Central. Maybe Larry Laudmel, his buddy, could brief me on this, but that's what he praised most about Gianna was her defense.
Yeah.
And she's quite the poet. We're going to have a story on Ponies All Access later this month about her poetry and how she used it as a vehicle to open up about anxiety and some other issues that she dealt with growing up.
Okay.
So she started at Hill Murray, didn't work out there, transferred back to Stillwater, and felt like home again. That's where her family is originally from. Still a long way to go. Let's see if Eastridge can pick up some momentum.
Yeah. And they're doing a great job of swinging the ball. It's a little quicker and find those open spots because they're definitely there.
Eastridge knocked off Tartan and White Bear Lake in the first two rounds. Stillwater defeated North St. Paul and Woodbury, both in runaways. Hesitation on the part of Christensen. Passed up on the three. Stegman will fire, and she's off the mark. Pratt with the rebound. Alexis.
Nice move.
What a move, but that was a walk. Unfortunate.
Next time. We know there will be a next time.
With Alexis Pratt, yes. Here's another look.
Oh, questionable.
Yeah, sometimes you can get away with that third step. Not in that instance. Now, I've seen some plays this year, layups, because I go through and watch all my games, especially on the TSB side, where some players get 3 or 4 steps in there.
So here we go. She's going to try it again.
You can't deny Alexis Pratt for long.
Yeah.
You were saying there would be a next time. Sometimes it comes on the very next possession.
5 seconds later.
I'll never forget, as I've gotten to know the Pratt family over the years, the first time I recognized Alexis, she stood out when she was at North St. Paul, and her mother, Michelle, quipped, because of how tiny she is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I said, no, because she was a step or two above everyone else on North St. Paul's roster.
Right. And I had the privilege of being on the coaching staff when she played at Washington Technology Magnet in St. Paul, and it was the same thing.
But you're right, her work ethic nearly unmatched. Eastridge will shoot free throws. That is number 23.
And you can see Eastridge, they're having their best offensive chances getting into the middle of the lane here.
They've had a hard time getting through to the middle with Stillwater's pressure. Canuck averaging 7.5 points per game in the section rounds. And missed at the line. Now it's Eastridge getting the steal.
Yeah, way to read that.
Well, if you're the Raptors, you just want a few good plays to go your way.
Right.
Get something to fuel the psyche.
And at this point, getting the ball across half court is a confidence booster.
To finish up on a story I was talking about earlier, Liza Carlin will play at Marquette. She'll go against a couple of EAU teammates. She played alongside Paige Beckers this year for the Metro Stars, and last year played alongside Michael Parham, who called the section final with us a year ago. We couldn't get Michael this year because she's at Creighton. She's about to play in the Big East tournament.
Yeah, I saw her post on Facebook. She looks like she's really enjoying herself.
Well, she is, and I know the Carlins and the Parhams, they're good friends, and they can't wait to meet up again in Big East Conference play next year.
Fun times. They're fun times.
I don't know if you got to experience that when you were at Kent State.
Fun times? Absolutely.
Well, fun times, I meant, did you get to play anyone that you played alongside or against?
No.
Well, you told me when you played in the mid to early 90s, the EAU, the amount of investment as Britt Carlson hits the mid-range J, there weren't as many resources for women's basketball athletes.
Correct.
When you were a high school player.
Correct.
Pratt for three. No good, and the rebound is tipped to Madeline Slavin. Stegman on the run. And that's been a problem for Eastridge throughout the first half. Just not getting a lot of shots to fall. Alexis Pratt. Dead ball rebound to the Raptors. 38-13.
That's one thing on transition offense. You've got to know where the Ponies are because they're going to put the shot up. They're going to take the shot. They're going to attack the basket. So you have to know where they are. Otherwise, you're going to end up paying for that.
Ella Stegman.
She did a great job there keeping her dribble and not picking up her dribble, going right to the basket, getting in her range. Putting some points on the board for Eastridge team.
38-15. Liza Carlin gets the Plinko bounce.
Friendly roll.
Not just a friendly roll, the Plinko roll. Liza Carlin also crossed 2,000 points. Doing so against Irondale.
Liza's been a stellar athlete as well. You know, you told me she just won the Athena Award out at Stillwater.
She did.
Two athletes.
And her parents were impressed by that. Of course, they're always impressed with Liza being the overachiever that she is. And we don't say that as a knock. She really does want to be the best no matter what she does.
Two-sport athlete, yeah.
And she transferred, only had a couple of years to get acquainted with Stillwater, but made her mark as soon as she put on a Stillwater uniform.
And I mean, even in the St. Paul conference, she made her mark.
Oh, yeah, that's right. She was
Liza,
the queen of the conference.
Yeah. I tell girls, you know, your name's on the scouting report when other teams scout our team, so she's definitely on the board.
Was a double-double machine at St. Paul Central, but not a lot of support around her. I know when she moved over to Stillwater, that was one of the big news items of a couple years ago. And her family told me until she transferred to Stillwater, she had never been interviewed before, hadn't gotten this kind of media exposure, and now everyone in the Carlin family, locally and in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan and in Milwaukee as well, the Carlins have a foothold on the Upper Midwest.
Well, I can tell you,
they can watch Liza play, and they'll be able to do so next year.
I work with a couple of surgeons, and we talked about Liza Carlin.
2,000 points, over 1,200 rebounds. And Stillwater will shoot free throws. Unfortunately, I miss Liza Carlin's 2,000 point and Alexis Pratt's 2,000 point by 1 game. But I can say I was there for her 1,000th rebound when Stillwater defeated Cretin-Durham Hall back in December.
Great accomplishments. Those are great accomplishments.
Now, I can't tell you which one was her 1,000th. But it happened. Grace Cody averaging 9.5 points per game in section play. And remember, last year in the state tournament, she turned it on in the first 2 rounds.
And when it comes to this postseason play, you have to. Every single player has to turn it on. You have to be ready when your number's called. You know, this is the time when you execute. Practice is over. And as you can see, they're executing this half-court press very well.
Whatever jitters imperiled the Ponies early have evaporated. Liza Carlin trying to make lemonade out of lemons. Slavin out to Christensen for 3, and that will go over the backboard. Dead ball rebound to the Ponies. 42-15 our score.
And Eastridge is just having a problem getting their shots to fall right now. They might be just a little flustered with this press, but when they attack the middle, they're able to kick the ball out. They're getting shots up. They're just not falling for them right now.
And that can make a big difference.
Especially playing a high-scoring team like Stillwater.
Hopkins, another one. Como Park, Becker. As Liza Carlin can't add 2 more. And Stillwater, they've been on the short end in those situations as well. You know, games where they lost, Park Center, Farmington, Eden Prairie, they missed a few opportunities. That's been the difference between last year and this year. Stillwater's been good. What they haven't had is a closer. And bodies on the floor. That's Amber Scalia. She gets up. Looks like she's all right.
Yeah, I think she collided with Carr on a rebound.
I don't think that was part of the Stillwater playbook. Take each other out, and Stillwater, I think, will call a timeout here to give Amber Scalia a chance to collect herself. 44.7 as Stillwater hopes to run down another dream to state. Every time we go to Hastings, whoever runs PA, I'm a big fan of yours because they play a lot of Tom Petty tunes. And one of my buddies, Abe Booker, well, he and I have a lot of Tom Petty jokes, so these are my jams.
Now I know.
Yeah, yes.
My playlist is a little different.
That's okay.
Right, we all have what we like.
Can you tell I'm a nerd?
Hey, it's okay.
So just a 30-second timeout. 44.7 on the clock. And even though she isn't in the booth tonight, I want to give a shout out to Demaya Hill. I understand she is selected to college.
Yeah.
So you will get to see her play college ball next year. Where will she play if we are allowed to reveal it?
She'll be playing for Coach DeWitt over at Anoka Ramsey.
Anoka Ramsey. Well, Demaya, I had a chance to see her play at Maranatha Christian Academy, and, well, basically throughout her entire high school career. And who knows, maybe she'll end up at a D1 school like Carlin or
that is
Alexis
the plan.
Pratt.
Yeah,
I presume she'll go D1 somewhere. And let's not forget Mia Curtis. She just committed to Dartmouth.
Yes, I'm super happy about that.
Jump ball, 7.2 on the clock.
Yeah, I really want Liza to get going and get some of those bunnies. Like, I want to be impartial, but I really want you to make some of these shots, Liza. They're right there. They're bouncing in and out for you.
That's
Just
okay.
Keep shooting.
She's had plenty of help tonight.
Yes.
Pratt, Cody, Foltz, Amber Scalia.
Yeah, the score would be a lot worse if she was making her shots. She's doing a great job on defense.
Eastridge will get a bucket to beat the buzzer, but it was all Stillwater in the first half, 42-19, even with Liza Carlin's struggles. As we were saying, everyone else was in rhythm for the Ponies, and we'll talk about that rhythm when we return.
Dora knows better than anyone. The best place to explore is the forest.
She knows this monkey? Of course, she knows this monkey.
Experience nature.
Let's go.
Connect with family.
I love you guys.
And find your own adventure in a forest or park near you.
Let's do this. Come on, Boots.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest or park near you.
Stillwater galloping their way to another trip to state. Mike Beaton and LaToya Turk with you. The Ponies starting the second half with a 42-17 lead. And LaToya, this may not be a surprise to us when you look at the season series and the history going back over the last few years, but we often say the hallmark of contending teams, do you win the games you're supposed to? And so far, Stillwater doing just that.
Yeah, I mean, at the beginning of the game, we were all a little nervous because they missed quite a few of those easy shots. But once that press got them loose and they got going, they've really showed up today.
And Alexis Pratt, one reason why, 11 points. Mary Fultz, 7 off the bench. Grace Cody, a couple of triples with 8. And I think Cody and Fultz calmed those nerves when they started knocking down threes. Then you saw Stillwater get to their press, score in transition. And even though Liza Carlin hasn't had the greatest of nights, we are seeing an example of Stillwater's depth. And that's been one of their strengths over the last 2 years, where if one player struggles, it's not a big deal because others can pitch in.
That's a great benefit of having such strong players on your team, or, you know, at any night, anyone can step up and take the lead. You know, right now we've seen Liza struggle a little bit underneath the basket, and all her warm-up shots have been outside of the three-point line. So we'll see what she brings in the second half.
Well, you know, Liza Carlin won't settle for anything less. If she's struggling, she will work as hard as she can to get herself out of it. That being said, if Stillwater keeps up their game plan, I don't think they have to make a whole lot of adjustments.
No, not at all. Eastridge is going to have to make a few adjustments with getting the ball over the half-court line, adjusting to that press, and attacking the middle, which has been good for them, and completing their shots, making their shots.
And Stillwater has made that difficult for just about everyone in the Suburban East this season. They are 18 minutes away from another trip to Williams Arena. We'll find out if they can make their way there when we return.
What would happen if I had to pick up the phone, call 911 for one of my family members or one of my neighbors? What would I do if no one was on the other end to respond? What if there was no 911? So you can be a part of the solution.
Anybody can be a firefighter. Male, female, younger, older.
We have school teachers. We have leaders in business.
Is me, you, anyone that wants to be.
There is no typical firefighter.
Mike Beaton and LaToya Turk back with you. Second half about to start between Stillwater and Eastridge. We do have a score update, even though we're not live. If you're watching this, we'll have this game up pretty soon after its conclusion. We have another entrant into state. De La Salle knocking off Hill Murray. Alexis Pratt.
Friendly roll. There we go. Start off the second half.
That was a Kawhi Leonard bounce. I was about to say we do have another confirmed entrant into the state tournament. De La Salle defeating Hill Murray in Section 4 3A convincingly. The Islanders winning it all in 3A last year. They should get the number 1 seed this year. Stillwater will have to see what happens in the other 4A sections because of their non-conference play. But they're on fire, or as Dan Patrick would say, in fuego.
Yeah, Liza picks up an assist there for her teammate.
And a
now
steal. Liza's everywhere to start this second half. And you knew it wouldn't be long before she got that layup down.
Right.
Liza Carlin. She's got a sister who will be playing some more minutes next year.
When they were sitting on the bench, I said, that kid looks a lot like Liza. So.
Well, you probably are thinking of Lexi Carlin. Carr with the steal. Stillwater turning this into a clinic. Timeout, Eastridge.
It's hard to beat that press. I mean, their arms are long. When you have Carr up top on that press, her arms are really long, and they do that jump trap so well.
52-17, and it looks like you and I are going to make another trip to Williams Arena.
I'll take it. Stamp my ticket.
Well, if your daughter can't be in the tournament, this is the next best thing, right?
I agree, and I love watching these young ladies play. I made a little list of all of the young ladies I got to give a shout out to, since, you know.
You and I, we would need to do a mic'd up sports episode for that.
And I look forward to seeing them at the state tournament and just, you know, talking basketball with them and seeing how their season went and where they're headed for the summer and, you know, what's going on.
Willie Taylor calling a timeout. I don't think he liked what he saw out of Stillwater's set.
And you know, at this point, it's about execution. They just had a timeout. He talked to him, he gave him instructions, and they went out and they did something different. And so if you're trying to make a run for a state championship, you have to be disciplined. You have to be able to take what your coach tells you in that 30-second, 1-minute huddle and execute it on the floor.
Even with a 35-point lead.
And this is the time when you practice that.
Right. You don't want to get complacent, and the way Stillwater's playing, there will be another trip. I was going to say I'm almost afraid to schedule you as a guest for Mic'd Up Sports because I think you and I would talk for 3-4 hours with all the players that we've seen. But I do want to give a shout out to your daughter. She did lead Maranatha Christian Academy in scoring.
Yeah.
And I mentioned this in their game with North, but when you consider everything the two of you have gone through over the years, to have that moment, to have a season you can look back on and feel good about.
Absolutely.
When you would have every reason to get flustered. I want to give props, and it's been real fun to see Demaya blossom into the individual she's become. I remember she was a little shy when I first met her in the Como Park days.
And she's been in the gym for a long time. You know, I'm just very thankful that we had Jim Hammond at the head this year, and he just gave her an opportunity to play, and that's what she did.
16:30 to go in the second half.
And it looks like there's a call. Gave the ball back to Eastridge.
Stillwater, they won't be flustered about it for long. I think they felt a little slighted, but Gianna Carr gets a steal. Pratt knocks down a three, and that press.
And you can see in their faces, in the Stillwater faces, they're so locked in. And it's really nice to have a player on your team who can spot up for the three. And that's a great asset to have as a smaller player, too, not always having to go into the lane.
Now, Pratt isn't the strongest of three-point shooters. Grace Cody hits the 15-footer, but if she works on that like she did with free throws, and I imagine she'll spend a lot of time in the offseason and in AAU refining her game, if she bumps up that three-point percentage even by a few percentage points, look out.
Absolutely. And as she gets ready to transition into the next phase of her basketball career, that will definitely be something that will be on the table as increasing your outside shooting percentage. Just because as she grows, there will be no need for her to go in the paint.
No need?
Yeah, she'll.
Are you kidding? With how quick she is?
Well, I mean, that'll be one of her assets and tools.
You've seen that first step, right?
But in college, you know, we would advise our guards to stay out of the paint.
She can get to anywhere on the floor
quickly.
Yes. Now, Stillwater up by 40, so that does put us at the mercy rule threshold, so the clock will go to running time at the 9-minute mark, unless Eastridge can reel this margin in. But they have looked completely out of sorts in the second half so far. Jump ball. Eastridge with the arrow. You mentioned working with Alexis at Washington Tech.
Mm-hmm.
What was it about her that stood out to you all those years ago?
Oh my goodness, it was her work ethic. She never quit. She had a positive attitude at all times, and she was just a great asset to have on the team. She was academically strong. She was polite, always willing to help her teammates.
Like she just did.
Yeah.
On the steal and the skip to Scalia.
True leader on the floor. And when you have young girls like that and you have the opportunity to have a player who has such a high basketball IQ and skill set, she's almost like the coach on the floor.
59-17, and this will not be the nail biter like it was last year in the section final for Stillwater. You can punch their ticket to Williams.
They are killing tonight from that three-point line.
And when you're knocking down threes, anything can happen. 62-17. And the Ponies.
Great pass there.
Will continue their supremacy of the Suburban East and 4-4A. There's Britt Carlson. And Britt, she's got a bright future ahead of her, whether it's in volleyball, basketball, or both, we'll see. But the Raptors they've got a bona fide crossover athlete, and that's not as common in the 4A schools as Amber Scalia's fouled the shoot too.
She's only in the 10th grade. I would, at this point, I would definitely start looking for her on the inside. She's strong. She has a few post moves.
And Amber Scalia, can't wait to see how she blossoms in the years to come.
Which we know will happen. When you have a sister who plays Division I basketball right up the street, you have no choice but to be good and get better.
Well, and Amber, between the two, Amber a stronger rebounder. She's not afraid to get in there and get some boards. That's not to say Sarah doesn't, but Amber makes that part of her game.
And I think, as far as if we're comparing skill sets, Amber will put the ball on the floor too.
That being said,
some handles.
I haven't seen anyone match Sarah Scalia's range, at least this year.
No.
Fast break play does not pan out for the Ponies this time. Now, we may not have an update on all the section finals taking place before this is over, but how the other sections fare could determine where Stillwater ends up. Because they did not win against Farmington Park Center as Canucks scores for the Raptors. Farmington Park Center, Wayzata they lost to. Now Wayzata and Hopkins, one of them, will advance in Section 6, so you don't have to worry about that. Eden Prairie, another team that Stillwater fell to. That could play a factor when it comes time to seed the 4A field. That's Grace Cody feeling it.
And they're just running through their sets. You can hear Willie telling them next pass, that option's not there. So right now they're just running through their sets. I would like to see Eastridge go ahead and execute some of their sets as well.
How nervous do you think Willie Taylor is now?
He's not pacing. He's taking his jacket off. I think he's a little more comfortable now. But this defense by Stillwater will give you an anxiety attack if you're playing against them.
Well, Grace Cody can't knock down everything.
She prefers the three-point line tonight.
Worked at Nelson's Ice Cream in the off-season.
Oh, that's nice. That would be dangerous for me.
Me too. And I just had a dental appointment. Don't worry, no cavities, no root canal. Free throws coming for Eastridge. So the sections to watch as far as seeding goes for Stillwater. Section 1, if Farmington can beat Rochester Mayo. Kate Burns at the line to shoot 2. Section 2, Chaska and Eden Prairie. EP, better than the record suggests. Section 5, Centennial and Park Center. Stillwater, if you're a Ponies fan, you probably are pulling for Centennial.
Yeah.
Because Park Center beat them. And Section 8, we'll see, those are another set of ranked teams. Maple Grove and St. Michael Albertville, one of them will be knocked out. So the Ponies maybe could move up to a 5 if they get some help. Of course, if they get a 4 or 5, then you have to face Hopkins in the semifinals. Yeah. The road to the championship is going to run through Hopkins, most likely.
You can see it on her face when she put the gas on to get to the basket.
Alexis Pratt came over to Stillwater as a freshman, and she was part of the Ponies' ascension because I covered them once when Sarah Scalia was a sophomore, and she was the big woman on campus. She was all they had. Alexis Pratt came in. Well, that gave Sarah Scalia another guard to play alongside with. Then Liza Carlin came in last year. Gave Stillwater a stretch 4, yes.
And they have not looked back since.
Ponies 12 of 12 from the free throw line.
Yeah, free throws are something that you work on every day. And it shows. It shows that this is something that they pride themselves in, being 12 for 12 from the line.
69-25. A nice performance by the Ponies in this 4-4A section final. Eliza Carlin with a nice drive for 2.
It was great execution there.
As the breakdown put it, A sleeping giant has awakened, and don't forget, they got the Pony Activity Center up and running a couple years ago. Ted Nye's second home.
And she's hit their last 2 buckets, so I like that.
Stegman up to 7 points. And if you're the Raptors, you knew this was going to be a tough out. Stillwater, they've had their number over the last 3 years, but to go from a winless team a couple of years ago, 18-10, including 2 section wins, and to at least get this far.
Nice rebound, Carr.
As Gianna Carr goes up to 5. Eastridge, I'm sure they'll feel some sense of accomplishment, getting one step closer after hitting rock bottom, and I mean rock bottom 2 years ago. It can't be easy to go winless. I think what the Raptors would like to have, if you're Glenn Worm and that staff, some players that can push the pace a little more, or at least handle the press against teams like Stillwater, who love to floor it.
Yeah, and you know, just like with Stillwater, Eastridge has feeder programs. They have their leagues, their Eastridge Raptors League, and so they have a pool of young ladies that they can develop and get ready year after year.
Liza Carlin scored the last bucket for the Ponies, and we're going to start to see the reserves come in. I see Lexi Carlin taking off her warm-up.
That's time.
Now, this section final, I'm wondering what your thoughts are, LaToya. You've probably heard all the discussions about seeding the tournament 1 through 64 instead of section play. The idea is to create more competitive matchups, and sometimes you can't control it. You're going to have closer years than others, as Gianna Carr lines up the baseline J and everything going in for Stillwater.
Her and Liza are working really well tonight.
You know, this section final, as exciting as it is for Stillwater to go back to state, I have to imagine it's not the best look when effectively its Sweet 16 game is a 47-point blowout win here. What will be a win.
Yeah, and you know, sometimes that happens in this style of bracket that we have right now. But when we look across the state, it worked really well in some of the other games. So when we see our starters coming off the floor, they're all smiles.
And one reason I brought that up, or the number of section finals where you have 2 top 10 teams going at it, they're going to knock each other out before you get to the final 8.
Yeah.
And last year, for example, Hopkins blew out Stillwater in the 4A championship. All those 4s are driving me crazy.
But you know, that's something that needs to be discussed, and the powers that be have to be willing to discuss it.
A lot of coaches have wanted to see that happen. They've run into pushback from the high school league.
Yeah.
But a section final like this, again, it's got to be exciting for Stillwater, but it's got to be tough for Eastridge and others who are fans of the game to know that this played out the way it did. Again, even if you did a 1 through 64, you would run into this from time to time. But folks want to see the most competitive matchups. And it's not a knock on Eastridge, it's just Stillwater is a step or 2 above where Eastridge is right now.
Right.
And Alex,
I look forward to seeing this Eastridge team come back in a couple of years. You know, a little more well-oiled. A lot of times all it takes is to get to this point to ignite the fire.
And sometimes it takes a butt kicking.
Yeah.
Stillwater was on the receiving end of many of those before they turned into a Suburbanese power. And there's Lizzie Holder.
You know, when you are coming off the bench for Stillwater in practice, you're practicing against these young ladies who just stepped off the floor. So, I mean, that looks seamless.
And you're practicing your 3s.
Yeah.
So the starters will get to bask in their glory for the last 6:18. I was going to say one more thing about Alexis Pratt. She runs a 4.5 40-yard dash, 12 to 100-yard dash.
My goodness, girl.
On the floor for the Ponies, Lizzie Holder, Abby Hansen back in there, Lexi Carlin, Mary Foltz, and number 45, Elira Dyson, I think is how you pronounce it. Eastridge keeping their starters on the floor for now.
Yeah.
Stegman with another bucket. She's up to 9. Now, following the game, we will stay with you for the award presentation, and we will also have some post-game interviews.
Yeah.
Unless the Stillwater players can't put up with me anymore.
No, they love you. They love you.
I say that because this is the 9th time I've seen them this year.
They know the routine.
3 live games, 5 on tape delay. We've had a lot of fun, though.
This is a great team to watch. It's always exciting to watch them play. And I'm really thankful that I got the opportunity to call a game tonight and see Liza go to the punch her ticket to the state tournament and just get to watch Pratt this year. I haven't seen her all year, so.
Last week we were talking about how you were bummed not to see that.
Yeah.
Or a couple weeks ago, I should say. So we wanted to make it up to you because
I appreciate it.
With her daughter at Maranatha, I have to work with that schedule as far as announcing goes. So the Stillwater dates didn't work out, but you got a chance to see Alexis do her thing, and she did it well. 21 points tonight.
Yeah, and not to take anything away from any of the other girls. You know, Carr's developed really well, and Scalia's developed, and they just looked really good tonight.
I'll tell you who impressed me the most, Grace Cody.
Absolutely.
4 3-pointers.
Out the gate.
19 points.
Well, let me tell you who impressed me this year.
Go ahead. We've got 4:13 left.
I want to give a shout out to the Scheidel Taylor sisters over at Worthington. We don't get to see them a lot, but Maya and Brooklyn, great friends of mine. The young ladies over at Park Center, Mackenzie, McGill, Frost, and Griffin. I love watching you guys play. You're awesome. Du Bois and Leonard out at Champlin. The De La Salle and Minnehaha family, always great games to watch. Oh, and the Stillwater teams, the reserves are still, oh, there's a steal. Say they're still executing.
Well, they're still going to run their plays. It's just Willie Taylor knows I've got the win in hand, so no need to pour it on.
Yeah.
You should see this list, though. I don't know if we can get a shot of it. This list, some of the others, if you don't mind, the Holy Angels trio, I'm thinking Frankie Basilero is one of them.
Yes.
Karen and Kowicki.
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Because Grace Massacoy, she made quite the splash in her first season of varsity ball.
You are correct. My Como Cougars family, you guys are always exciting, and Ronnie had me step up my shoe game. Getting an opportunity to call the Chaska game was great, watching those young players there.
Chaska Maple Grove is what she's talking about.
Yeah. I could watch Tessa Johnson play all day.
At STMA?
Yeah.
Well, you'll get to see her play next year.
Yeah.
Just a freshman.
I saw her in the gym last week when we were leaving STMA, and I said, are you the Tessa Johnson? And she just had the biggest smile. So you're awesome, kid.
Dropped 30 against Farmington at the Breakdown Tip-Off Classic. I had a chance to see her play against Hopkins, and that was one of my favorite moments is STMA moving to the lake. So they love it. They get more competitive conference matchups, and I think the rest of us loved it as well because you get to play Hopkins twice now, Wayzata, EP, and everyone I talked to in the lake really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I loved watching her play. The Hopkins dynasty. I mean, we can take any kid off their entire bench and they'd be starters in any program.
We'll see them next week, most likely.
Yeah, Yvonne from Concordia.
Yvonne Tensaye.
Yeah, she's an amazing athlete. And we're seeing the starters come out for Eastridge now, some of them.
Yep, and Stillwater's deep players are going in. In fact, so deep, they're not even on the roster in some cases because we're going deep JV here, so my apologies if I don't have all the names, but you see Katie Harkey in there, 23, Lydia Knudsen, 24, Maya Tompkins.
And it's a great opportunity to get them in, get them on the floor. Hopefully, they can make a little bit of an impact in this last minute. Emma and Kari from Washburn, I got a chance to coach them over the summer, and they're seniors this year, going off to do big things in the world. Sydney Jackson over at Cretin. I've loved having the opportunity to be a part of her life as a coach when she was over at Como, and just watching her develop and my goodness, I saw a senior picture of her, and she probably had 30 track medals on.
Katie Harkey scoring for the Ponies. Well, if you don't mind, some of my favorite moments. We're getting a chance to see the Stillwater team, even in games they didn't win, they always make a fight out of it. We'll see if that fight carries them into state, because they had trouble closing out last year in some games, and then one big when it mattered most. And it's hard for me to pick one moment or one player, but
I know.
Addison Mack, though, the 7th grader.
Yes.
Yes. I will never
She's
forget.
on my newcomers list.
I will never forget seeing her will her team to a 15-point come-from-behind win.
And she looks like just a little young baby.
Well, Stillwater, the celebration is on. A wire-to-wire win, even if it was expected. As we said before, you have to win the games you're supposed to, and Stillwater did just that.
And they're going to state. Great job, ladies.
83-37 the final.
And they collapsed the...
Well, no matter how you get it, whether it's by 1 or by 100, it's always exciting to know your season moves on. I don't think Willie Taylor's nervous anymore.
No.
Well, maybe for a little while, and then tomorrow he's going to start thinking about his quarterfinal opponent.
Right.
So congratulations to the Stillwater Ponies. For the first time ever, back-to-back section champions in 4-4A.
Great job, ladies.
And that's another moment. Well, LaToya, maybe we can get you on, or maybe next week if we go to state, we can do a quick little podcast of sorts and talk about all these moments, because so many players I get a chance to see. And I'll add another one here as we await the award presentation, getting the chance to connect with Eden Prairie, seeing Nia Holloway, for example. We'll talk more and reminisce more, but we got to take a quick break and bring you the award presentation.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made her college years happen. Opening that education savings account when she was little. Spearheading a campus tour. And another, and another, and another, and another. Bam! Deciphering financial aid. She was like, what? And now she's like, you aced planning for college. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
Welcome back to Hastings High School. Mike Peden here for the post-game report. We're going to start off with the leading scorer for the Ponies, Alexis Pratt. Alexis, 21 points tonight. What would you make of your performance?
I just knew I had to come out strong, and for the first 3 to 5 minutes, we had to put it on them so we can make a statement.
I'd say you made your biggest statement at the start of the second half. The first half, at least to start, there were some jitters, but once they went away, that press went to full power, and there was no stopping you. That really came to form to start the second frame.
Yeah, I know we had to put our defense hard. So our defense is our key thing, so that's what we had to do.
This is another moment in a season full of them. You got your 2,000th point earlier this season. You get another section championship. What would you make of this ride?
This ride has been amazing. All the amazing accomplishments I've had, all the people that have supported me, it's been great, and I'm glad for everyone who has been in my life right now.
What would you say is the toughest part in a matchup like this? You've dominated Eastridge over the last few years, but there are no guarantees. So going in, how do you make sure that you don't get too complacent?
It's hard to play a team 3 times, and you just have to go out and play your game no matter how many times you played them. They know our plays, and no matter how many times they know our plays, you got to keep running it and keep doing what we always been doing all year.
And what's the most exciting part about winning a second consecutive section title?
You just get to go back to state, so that's so happy.
You want to say hi to anybody?
I want to say hi to my family and all my friends.
Well, hi, family and friends. I'm sure they all will be there. Andrea and all your peeps from your church and everyone else to hoop it up at Williams. I know we'll be there. Congratulations, Alexis.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Joining me is Willie Taylor. Willie, you've had quite the season. Another section title. You picked up your 500th career win back in November. What would you make of this ride?
I think it's fun. This is more fun than last year because this year, to start off with, we weren't expected to do this well. But we played everybody tough. We played all year long. We were in every game. I think we had a chance to win every game. So this is good. It's a lot of fun.
You often discuss your nervousness before each game, going through the game plan, trying to make sure you can compensate for anything that comes your way. How long did you think it took for Stillwater to get locked in?
It took us a while. We started off, we were fumbly fingers, we were missing easy shots. And yeah, the more we missed, the more balls we fumbled, I got more nervous. But also, too, I always tell the kids, when you play hard defense, you can't be nervous playing defense. Just work hard on defense, and things will work out for you. And the kids played very well.
That really showed in the second half to start. You had a 25-point lead, and Stillwater didn't let off the gas at all. What would you make of Stillwater's defensive stance to start the second frame?
We played some games in our conference during the year where we had 20-point leads at halftime, and we come out and we come out sluggish, and they cut the lead down to 10. And since it happened the last time at Mountain View, it wasn't going to happen anymore, because I told them we were not going to sub them out until we got up to running time.
What is the most exciting part about going back to state?
Well, this year it's going to be fun for me because we don't have anything to lose. We won't be seeded probably, and I think we can beat some people.
What would you make of their chances, and what do you think Stillwater has to do to make an upset bid?
Well, I think Hopkins is different than everybody else, but Farmington's lost their point guard. Park Center's lost one of their post players. So, and those are two schools we lost to. If Wayzata makes it, they lost their post player. All those teams we played within 5 points. So I think we're going to do pretty well.
So health could be a big thing. And whatever happens, what would you make of seniors like Liza Carlin, Mary Foltz, Grace Cody? They're all going to play college ball no matter the level. How has the senior class carried this team?
The senior class has been great for me. These kids have been around me for a while. They know me. They actually helped me coach. At halftime, we talked to them, what do you guys want to do? And I listen to my kids. I work with them with what they want to do, and it works out.
So if you can't make it on Wednesday, you've got some folks who can step in for you.
We do. We have a lot of people who can play.
And coach as well. So, Willie, if you want to take a
coach, yeah. Oh, yeah. All our kids, parents, everybody thinks they can coach, so we're good.
So if something happens to Willie, we might have a Space Jam situation where you have a player coach. No matter what happens, congrats on the section win, and we'll see you at state.
All right, thank you, sir.
Joining me is Grace Cody. Grace, 19 points, 5 3-pointers. Last year, you turned it on in postseason play in the state tournaments. This year, I guess, is a continuation. What is it about this single elimination that fires you up?
I think it's just that to start off strong, in a game this big, we just need to start off strong, and that gets us going. Once we hit 1-3, hit our first shot, we're all hype and we're ready to go, ready to finish it.
Now, you can't see this, it's just off to our right, but can you tell me the significance of why everyone is autographing Mary Foltz's t-shirt?
Her dad got together shirts and hats. He got hats last year just in case we won, not too up front, but we're going to state. And everyone's signing her shirt, so I'll probably get mine signed too.
You can give me an autograph while you're at it?
I will. Yeah, I can.
I'm kidding.
If you get a shirt.
I tease. Well, not this one. I need this one for the spring. What's the most exciting part about getting back to state?
I think just in a game this big, winning with this big of a game like last year. It was a closer game last year, and I think this year we pulled through, and it's just more exciting to get a bigger win.
And while you're having some fun with Mary Foltz, what would you make of the senior class? Yourself, Mary, Delaney Wagner, Liza Carlin, you're all going to play college ball, and you all were instrumental in Stillwater's ascension. What would you make of this group?
I don't know what I'm going to do without them. Like, thinking about when the season's going to be over, I just keep hoping we get back into the Stillwater gym, we get to play with each other more, and hope for the best for all of us.
Now, I've often brought up in Stillwater broadcasts that you and your mother have a link with state tournaments. Well, now you have more appearances than your mother, so are you going to have some bragging rights now at the Cody household?
Yeah, well, she's brought up before that she made it, and then she was happy I made it, but now I made it twice, so we'll see what happens when I talk to her about it.
2-1, Denise. I'm sure your mother's real proud about that, though.
She is pretty. She's really proud, and I'm happy for her, too.
Well, I think everyone's happy for you as well. You want to say hi to anybody?
Just everyone that's here right now. Just happy to see everyone that came out tonight to watch.
Well, hopefully Grace has a few more three-pointers left in her at Williams. Otherwise, you can watch her knock down threes at Mayville State next year. Grace, congratulations and good luck with the 4A state championship.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
That's Grace Cody, and that wraps up our coverage here from Hastings High School in our final basketball broadcast of 2019-2020. We will have post-game coverage of the state tournament, however Stillwater performs, on the social media feeds of Valley Access channels. So stay tuned for updates throughout the tournament next week. For LaToya Turk and the rest of our crew, I'm Mike Beaton. Thanks for watching the 4-4A Section Championship.